Oh man, welcome back to the Gray Space. I'm Zeke, that is Dre.
Yepers.
And we are back with another fire interview for you guys this week.
Yes, but y'all know what to do before we get going. Make sure you subscribe to become part of the tribe. Do us right. Hit that like and comment because you are loving the content. Now, we got a special guest in the building, my guy.
Yes, we do, man. Yes, we do. I'm excited.
Before I get into my soliloquy, if you will, man, this guy's just been popping up on the radar, man.
Oh, yeah.
And finally had to make it happen, man. So our guest today, despite this being our first time meeting each other, feels like a dope cousin or uncle at the function. You know what I'm saying? His daily clips from his podcast, The Art of Being Freed, provide motivation and inspiration without judgment, which I think is huge. He is also an amazing artist who he brought us some dope stuff today. With his works being featured for Nickelodeon, Arizona Cardinals, Phoenix, or the Arizona Coyotes, the Coyotes, his own call center TV, and much more. I was going to say, actually, I wrote this down. I was going to say, I'm not going to lie, I hope he hooks us up with some art, but he already did that. He took a piece of my intro out. It's all good. But maybe he could do some custom cartoons for us, like me and you know what I'm saying? But he's not here for that. He's here to tell his story on the only place stories originate. Please welcome Freed to the Gray Space.
Appreciate y'all having
Welcome
me. Thank
in,
you
man.
very much.
Yeah, man.
It's an honor to be here right now, you know?
Man, I have been excited for this for a while. It was I call it social media flirting, if you will. Right? and it was like, you know, you popped up and I was like, yo, who's this dude? Mm-hmm. And then it was like I saw a clip. And then I kept seeing the clips. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yo, let me go check this dude out real quick.
And super inspirational, man.
Mad inspiration.
Yeah, for sure.
And then I was like, oh, nah, but he's a fire artist, though. On top of all that.
Right.
Yeah. And as I just started to go down the rabbit hole, I hit Zeke up and I'm like, I don't know who this dude is, but I like him, man. Mm-hmm. He's killing the game right now.
Appreciate it.
And we were like, I don't know when, and we're big on timing. And I was like, yo, I think it's time to hit him up. And so glad we could finally get you in the building, man, because you're doing some amazing stuff, man. You're doing some amazing stuff. But like I told you before we jumped on, I'm big into the origin story.
Absolutely.
So Freed didn't just become Freed overnight. Tell us kind of how you not only got into art, because that's kind of really your origin story is your artistic side.
Yes, sir.
But then how you kind of transitioned also into the podcast world.
Yeah, so I'm from Fresno, California, born and raised.
There we go. We got a Californian in the building.
We got another SoCal AZ here, man.
Yeah, so I moved out to Phoenix 20 years ago
Okay.
to do cartoons. I actually went to school for animation.
Okay.
And I ended up getting into, sales and became a manager. And,
Right.
I kept doing the art, but I was making a lot of money, in sales. So
Right.
I kind of left the art alone. I got into hip hop, you know what I mean? So that was another piece of my art that I was really into. I've been writing forever, come from a musical family. My dad, he plays saxophone, among many other instruments. He used to open for the Temptations. So It's like I've been around art my entire life. He's also a painter. And, I get out here, I'm doing sales, I'm doing my thing. I ended up getting married, having some kids. So I'm a father, family man, family guy all the way, right? 2 young boys and 2 young men. And as far as the art, I started getting back into the art little by little, especially with Instagram blowing up. So I used to always put a lot of my art out there.
Okay.
As soon as Instagram came, I actually got an iPhone because Instagram was only on the iPhone back in the day when it first came out.
Right.
So I started to build a following. I made a cartoon called Call Center TV, which is based on my experience as a minority in corporate America and less than diverse corporate America. Mm-hmm. In the cartoon, it's kind of like a cross between Office Space, Family Guy, and Friday. Right?
Okay. Okay.
So it was really cool, a little bit of hip hop mixed into it. And then right as I'm starting to pop with my art, this was like 2020, the pandemic hit. Like I did an art show, I was on the news, they did a feature, it was really cool. I was like, okay, this is the year I'm gonna really take my art to the next level. I'd already worked with Nickelodeon at this point, did some social media art on a few movies. So it's like I'm building this, portfolio.
Right.
And then, so right after that art show, the pandemic hit. And then my mom passed away like a few days before her birthday.
Oh,
like
man.
6 days before her
Sorry
birthday.
to hear that, man.
I appreciate it. So this was like 2021. And, I go through my depression pretty much. It was really rough. And I remember that weekend, I was telling my wife, yo, I don't even want to draw. Like, I'm just not into creating. Like, it's just, she was my spark. Like, that's where I got a lot of my positivity from, my mother.
Gotcha.
And so anyway, a day later, the Arizona Cardinals put my stuff out. And I was like, wow, I just said I wasn't going to do anything. And I'd been collaborating with the Arizona Cardinals, and it just popped up. Literally, it was almost like a divine message. Like, nah, you're going to keep going.
100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I go through a little bit more time, and I've been doing motivational videos. My first video was on YouTube back in like 2015, 3 Reasons to Quit Your Call Center Job. And they got like 40,000, 30,000 views, whatever. So that was like my first video. So it was a lot to live up to. And then I fell off of that, but kind of fast forwarding back to that time frame with my mother, I ended up advising someone who was trying to put out a podcast, like, hey, can you help us with just the art and the direction? And I gave them some really dope feedback. They wanted me to be their manager. So I was like, you know what? I might be able to do my own podcast, almost as a way to like honor my mother. And when I first decided to make videos, I was like, yo, I could do videos about whatever. I could talk about my art, which is at my core, I'm an artist, an illustrator. You know what I mean? So that was like the thing. It was like, well, I could talk about my art. I could talk about relationships. I could talk about being a father. I could talk about raising a dog. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But none of that matters without mindset. And my mother was always about like having a mindset that stretched beyond your limits. You know what I mean? So I wanted to share that glow that my mother shared with me, with the world. So I was like, I'm going to put these videos out, long form, just about, growth mindset. At first it was just motivation. I'm not a motivational speaker by any stretch. But as I went through that trauma, I wanted to find a way. It was almost like self-therapy, right? Like I'm talking about things that are like divine. Like it talks about, the Bible talks about think on good things, right? So I'm always thinking about good things. And I just want to share that. I still deal with my troubles, you know what I'm saying? But if I could share some good energy with the world, like my mother shared with everybody, like that's where the podcast, that's where the inspiration from the podcast, came from.
Okay.
Right. So that's kind of like fast forward now, we're going on about to go on to year 3. And it's looking good. Like I'm, doing things like this, and I'm getting out there, like I'm getting back outside, as they say, because I was a hermit after my mother. I didn't want to, really go anywhere. I was just kind of like, under a rock. But I invested in myself and I stayed in it. And there's still a lot of people that's counting on me. Like I said, I'm a father, I'm a husband. We actually got 14 years coming up on Tuesday, my wife and I.
Good for you.
Marriage, yeah.
Congratulations.
So,
That's dope.
Thank you. Yeah. So it's like, I want to make sure that I do the right thing and remain honorable. But how can I step it up a notch? And that's putting myself out there and not hoarding that gift.
So I want to take it back a little bit too, because there was a lot in all of that.
Yeah.
Nickelodeon.
Yes, sir.
You know what I'm saying? It's not like, it's a lot of people that can draw and do graphic design and a lot of people that are really, really good, right? Yeah. It's very hard to get in the door with major companies. Not only did you work with Nickelodeon, but you also worked with the Arizona Cardinals.
Yes, sir.
But talk about kind of how you got into the whole like Nickelodeon thing. How did that come about?
Yeah, the first thing was just being consistent and just like showing up with my art all the time and being in the comments, like just leaving like high energy comments. Like I'm the type that'll leave like a comment that'll get like 1,000 likes. You know what I'm saying? Because like I want to put good energy out there. And then I've been in sales for like 20 years, so that's really part of the game. Like people are trying to get at brands, but they're not trying to get at the people that's like behind it. You know what I mean? So it's like, let me find out who the director of social media is over here. And that's how I got in touch with, the Cardinals and Nickelodeon. I just started DMing them, and then I found out who the person was. They're at Pokemon now. But it was just a matter of just being cordial, being kind, you know, having good manners. And I think that's like the foundation of everything, like your approach, right? And it just happens. Like I think you stay consistent, things start happening. Looking back, it's not as big of a deal as it was at the time, but I'm thankful for that opportunity. Like my art's at Nickelodeon. I got pictures with them, got my art up at Nickelodeon. So it's like, you know, I think it's just reaching out and not being afraid to like use my sales skills. I always tell people, if you're going to learn something, like learn how to sell. 'Cause you can make money on your own, because I'm selling for other people, but I could take these same skills and go connect with folks and move up. So, that's pretty much how it happened.
Okay.
I want to talk to you about consistency, because you mentioned it a couple times, and I think that's actually really important, and for whatever you're trying to do.
Yes, sir.
Right? Because no matter what you do or what you start or what you continue to do, is just being consistent.
Yes, sir.
Right? And I think that's lost on a lot of people. I don't know if you agree or disagree with that, but I feel like the if you love something and it's your passion,
Yes, sir.
I don't, I think people always need to be consistent with, because it might not be good, right? It might not be where you want it to be, but just being consistent and continue that, ball rolling.
Yes, sir.
And consistently pushing that, and pushing about, because then what it does is it pushes you to be better.
Yes, sir.
Right.
Absolutely.
And if you're consistent with yourself, and actually you said something on one of your clips too, of just starting something.
Yeah.
And it takes 2 minutes, I think is what it said, because you're reading a book, I believe.
Yep.
And it's just start it, right? Create the habit,
Yes.
right? In 2 minutes. Like if you want to start going to the gym, just walk in the door.
That's it.
Like just get there.
Yeah.
Like just go.
Yeah.
You at least start there.
Yes, sir.
Create that 2 minute, and I really like that. That stuck with me, right? Because again, it goes with the consistency part.
Yes.
Right? And it's just like, if you start this habit, in a good habit, of, okay, I want to get into the gym, or I want to create more art.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You're going to be consistent about it. You should be consistent about it. So I kind of want to get your take on like consistency, throughout your career, basically, and how that has, pushed you forward, basically.
Yeah, that's a great question. I wasn't always this consistent. Like, I actually was very inconsistent, especially in my youth. Alienated a lot of people, lost a lot of friends, not coming through on things. And I learned the art of consistency as I got older. A lot of it was just not having patience. Like, you want things to pop, especially as I'm younger. Like, I want to pop now. Then my peers are popping now. How can I get up and get on? You know what I mean? And when it's not, going well for me, I'm just like, all right, well, you know what? I'm just going to fall back, try something else. It's a gift and a curse of being multi-talented. Well, I go here, I go there, versus what am I really good at that I could just like lean into, and then everything else will be a part of that. So when I went into this podcast project, one of the first lessons I learned was just like show up every day. That's like, you tell yourself, you're prolific. I'm prolific. Prolific to me means I'm showing up consistently, even when I don't feel like it. So at this stage, and they're like, a lot of the videos you're seeing now are like a year old, because I got so much content that I could just repurpose it as I reinvent myself offline and then make a comeback like I'm doing right now. Like, oh, okay, Freed's doing this thing. But I feel like if you're going to commit to something, just find some level of consistency. It doesn't have to be every day. It could be every week. It could even be once a month. But if you approach a project with consistency in mind, it makes more sense as a project versus it just being something that you're doing. You know what I mean? Like I always talk about, don't be a dabbler. But if I tell folks I'm working on a project, which is going to be a 10 episode podcast available in XYZ, it just sounds more real versus, I'm thinking about starting a podcast. You know what I'm saying? I've already kind of recorded. So as far as the habit, building a habit, it really just starts with showing up for just a few minutes a day. If you want to read a specific book, just open up the book and just like even hold the book. Sometimes I just look at the title, Think and Grow Rich. All right, that's cool. That's all I need. You know what I'm saying? For I don't need to open up the book and get too deep into it. Sometimes it's just you hold to look at the title. So I believe consistency is key when it comes to any type of success that you want to see.
I agree.
So let's talk about the podcast for a minute, because Now, I want to ask you before I ask you this other question. Do you, like, outside of your, I don't know how to say that, like, outside of your actual artistic, because art is multidimensional, right?
Yes, sir.
But as outside of you being an artist with your hands, with the pen game, the illustrations.
Yes, sir.
Did you have any like background in video or audio or any type of training with that?
Yes. So when I moved out to Phoenix 20 years ago, I went to art school. As I mentioned earlier, we had the opportunity to take a videographer class. So this was like 2003. I had the mini DV, the Canon. So we were up on Mill Avenue, just with the Canon. We were battle rapping at the time because I'm in my youth and I just was into rap. And then just doing music and going into different studios, working with different engineers out here. Like sound was like the number one thing. And I used to do a lot of online battle rapping, like in the early 2000s. DJ Who Kid had a website called rapnetwork.com. There's a lot of artists came through there, and we used to do online battles. And the person who had the best quality typically won. So I always focused on like investing in my quality, making sure I had a good mic. And then as far as the editing, I learned a lot of that just over time. A lot of it was self-study. A lot of it was in school, but just putting together clips. I mentioned I'm really big on composition. So as long as things fit a certain way, like whether it's my art or putting pictures together or just editing clips, right? My background in video and sound go back a good 20 years.
And the reason I ask that is because when you look at, if you go all the way back, episode 1 of The Art of Being Free, right? It's very well done for an episode 1. Like, I don't know a lot of podcasts that came out the gate that was like, oh, this is clean. And obviously, with anything, like we talked about the consistency, the repetition, you're going to get better. You're going to learn things. You're going to see what works and what doesn't work. But that's why I asked that, because not many people are able to come out of the gate with the fluidity that you had from episode 1. Right. And then also the way you were able to do some of the art. I mean, obviously you're an artist, but that it's not an easy thing to step out of one realm and then step into this whole other realm and then just be like, not okay, like pretty damn good out the gate. Right.
Appreciate that.
And so that's why I was wondering, and you did speak earlier about your mindset as far as how you attack the podcast, but I want you to speak more to that as well. How much does that help you in actually putting the podcast together? Your ability to basically see an image that's not there yet and create it.
Yeah, imagination is key for me.
Okay.
Like I feel like I'm where imagination lives. Like I came up in the 80s and the 90s, and I saw the greatest of things, from Reading Rainbow to the Fresh Prince, you know what I'm saying? So it's like when you see all these things and at such an early age, you're like, right now there's a lot of overstimulation. And back then I was really able to key in on what I love. So when I draw stuff or put things together in my mind, it's no different than when I was writing raps or poetry. It's just, I see it in my head first. And everything, when it comes to drawing, I see shapes. So circles and triangles and squares, right? So I break it down to the simplest form. That's how I approach, my consistency with my podcast. And it's my very, very first video on YouTube back in 2015. I was just on the couch on my cell phone, right? And that got more views than a lot of the videos that I put out. You know what I mean?
Of course.
So I would say to folks, like, if you're thinking about putting some video content out, don't get too caught up in the aesthetic. But as an artist that's about composition, like, I feel like it's my job, it's my duty and obligation to bring people the best quality, starting with the sound and then making it, doper with the visual.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? Especially at this point in my, tenure, my experience, it's like, I know how to put out a dope product, right?
Yeah,
so
100%.
Yes, sir.
And I want to touch on also the podcast and just your Instagram, wherever your people are watching you, right?
Yes, sir.
the positivity that comes within you. And I kind of want to know where that comes from because I'm big on positivity.
Yeah.
And so I would love to see people doing positive things, and just because sometimes, like, if something is being said,
Yes, sir.
it might not hit you right away, or it's not for you just yet.
Right.
Yes, but it's all good information, and it speaks. There's certain things that just speak to your soul.
Absolutely.
And it's something you need to hear at that particular time. And we say all the time, timing is everything.
Yep.
You know, and so where does that positivity come from within you, and how do you continue to keep pushing through? Because we all go through crap. You know what I mean? We all go through stuff. But how do you internally get through all that stuff?
That's a great question. So I got a 12-year-old. That's my youngest, my firstborn.
Okay.
Call him Little Freed. And he's very gifted. He's in the music, modeling. So I go into his room one day, and he's got his iPad. And he's watching one of my videos just by himself, you know. And in the video, I said, choose your frequencies wisely. Pay attention to what you're paying attention to. And he was like, you know, look, Dad, like it's you, like saying this. And I'm like, you know, it's really cool to see that. So a lot of my energy and my drive to be as positive as I can comes from my son, right? Both of my sons are like super dope. And I want them to look and see a positive figure in their life, right? Like versus, you know, a dad that's complaining about whatever. So I would say it comes from just my son and my desire to leave behind like a video journal for them, like of just positivity. Like
that's a beautiful thing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
That is definitely a beautiful thing.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
So you like the color red, man. You got a lot of reds.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? No, but no,
That's
no,
funny. Where's this going?
No joke.
Yeah.
Your use of colors.
Yes, sir.
Well, I've noticed this as well.
Right. It's so. It makes the message hit that much harder. So I'm gonna go off on a little tangent here for people that are just tapping in, that have not tapped into one clip of yours.
Yes, sir.
I said earlier, and you kind of tapped into it right now as well. It's the positivity, but it's not just that. It's the positivity without the judgment.
Yes, sir.
It's the motivation without the breakdown. It's, hey man, I'm like you. You're like this guy. We're all in the same boat. I get it. You know what I'm saying? I'm not perfect, and you're not even saying all that.
Yeah.
But it's the way you're delivering the message is that impactful. Now you tack on this visual element as you're watching it, where the use and I say the reds, but red is normally not a positive color when it comes to like messaging, right? Yeah. But your use of like kind of the reds and the darker blues and the darker oranges, while simultaneously delivering these dope messages.
Thank you.
Is incredible.
Appreciate
and I want to know, like, I get that it's the artist in you, but even most artists would say, I need to brighten it up, right?
Yeah.
But you have this kind of contrast about, especially the art of being freed, that is just amazing. Where does I know it's from the art, but like, where does it really come from? Because it's a very particular thing to use those types of colors.
Yeah, so I certainly study color theory. Red is definitely a bad guy, color.
Right.
Typically, you'll want to see like some blues and some purples and some greens. Based on what I talk about, those are kind of like the mental health representative covered colors along with brown. But when people are scrolling through social media, like they're going to be scrolling on this, and then they're going to see a dude with a red Kango and they might have some red glasses, and they're going to stop like red. Like I was in a movie one time. I was just an extra. But I was in a movie,
right,
and they said, don't wear red. because you're going to take away the attention from the main actor. So it's like, you know, red is like it just attracts attention. They were telling me when
Kind of like red cars. If you drive a red car, you're gonna get pulled over.
I was just going to say that.
Okay.
They was actually, and the lady told me you're actually less likely to get into an accident if you're driving like a bright red or orange car because people see you. They're more likely to see you. So it's like red is like, and it also accentuates my tone, right? So it's like I try to wear colors or have colors that are like they all matter. Like every a composition, again, that's my thing. And then you go back to the 90s. Trix was my favorite cereal. The big red box, you know what I'm saying?
Yes,
all the
sir.
colors.
Yes, sir.
And you know, the Fruity Pebbles was good too. So it just, a lot of it is just my influence of just growing up in the 90s and just seeing all these different colors. You know what I'm saying? And then when I started drawing, Tiny Toons, Ninja Turtles, like those were like the things I was drawing, and it was just so vibrant and animated. And I just want to share that interpretation with people. So that's why I put those colors together the way I do.
Okay. Now I have a quick side question.
Sure.
Has nothing to do with the podcast. Has a little bit to do with art though.
Yeah.
Have you seen? I have not seen one of these movies, but have you
I
seen?
was going into the same.
Okay, go ahead. Then it's all yours. Go ahead.
No, man, it's all good.
I was gonna say, have you seen? At least have you seen the two Spider-Man movies?
Yeah.
And the new Ninja Turtle movie.
I haven't seen the new
I haven't
Ninja
seen it.
Turtle
I haven't
yet.
seen the new one yet.
But I definitely went and took the whole family to see the latest Miles Morales, and it was just ridiculous.
And you saw both of them. You saw,
I saw the first
Into
one.
and Across. Okay.
Yes, sir.
And how much do you appreciate the art style that they're doing? Because I was talking to somebody at work about this just the other day, and I was like, I'm so glad that Hollywood, whatever you want to call it, right, is not getting away from Pixar, because I think Pixar is beautiful in its own right.
Yeah.
But a lot of people have copied that over the years, and it's been very monotonous of the same type of art style. So DreamWorks and even Nickelodeon stuff, like everybody's kind of Disney, all doing the same art style, right?
yeah.
And Spider-Man, the first one, and it's like, boom, it comes on scene, and everybody's like, I didn't know that would be dope as hell to watch,
right.
And then the second one, and now the Ninja Turtle movie, which got Paramount Plus, go watch it. It's phenomenal, just from a pure art standpoint. So I also want to get your take on, like, do you like the direction that kind of Hollywood's pushing, or giving the freedom to artists of like, hey, create something that's cool, and different. It doesn't have to be the Pixar style.
Yeah, I'm definitely a big fan, and as an artist, I'm a student of art. So I've got the books, right, for the Miles Morales movies, and I love stop motion animation back to like the California Raisins. All the way to Coraline and Fantastic Mr. Fox.
Yeah.
So that style of animation is like dope. So I'm glad to see that Hollywood is, catching on and putting out like just something that will make you think, versus like we've seen all of the Pixar movies, like you said, and the DreamWorks, the Shreks. We fall in love with the characters, but they become kind of stagnant over time.
Yep.
So when you reintroduce characters like Spider-Man or TMNT, which I'm going to go see. I don't have Paramount Plus, but I'm going to go get it now. It makes you expand your imagination, at least as an artist. It's like, okay, I could take my stuff this way. Like the things that I'm learning now, like I want to implement that style of art into future, podcast episodes. So I think it's an amazing thing. Like, and it's just going to continue to grow. I want to be a part of it. I'm excited to be a part of it, actually.
And are you a big anime fan? Just because of your shirt?
Yeah, I'm a big anime fan.
Okay.
Like, crazy.
All right.
Yeah. Attack on Titan is my favorite.
Okay.
Anime. That's
all right.
That's crazy. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, because
this is Monster X.
Okay.
Monster X Hunter. Yeah.
All right.
Wait, is it Monster? Hunter X Monster. Hunter X Hunter. I can't even get it right. Hunter X Hunter. I'm thinking of Monster Hunter X.
It kind of looks like Naruto, or I think is the way you say it. I'm sure. Yeah. But anyways, that's what it kind of looked like to me. But I'm not big on anime.
Okay.
But I do like. I'm always appreciative of art, and I think most people are, right?
Yeah.
And again, I'm not really into anime like stuff, but I really appreciate art. Right. Yeah. And even stuff that like, I'm like, that's not really necessarily for me.
Mm-hmm.
I can at least look at it and go, I kind of get what they were going for, and I understand. And it's the beauty of art, right?
Yes,
and it's
sir.
the same with music or whatever. It's like it'll hit you, and it resonates with your soul, man. And
Yes,
it's
sir.
like one of those most beautiful things, right? And
Yes.
it's like hearing this great piece of music, right? Or seeing this beautiful piece of art, or seeing a motion, motion art,
Yes, sir.
and it's just one of the most beautiful things. Art, don't ever go away, because I
Yeah.
think it's one of the things that humans need the most. Is that creativity and just to see it and consume it.
Totally agree. I believe my art's brought a lot of different types of people together. You talked about how we motivate with no judgment or without judgment. And a lot of that comes from just me sharing my art over the years. Like, I made a lot of friends just sitting at a table and pulling out a piece of paper and drawing. And all of a sudden I'm looking up and I got a big group of people around me. And it's a diverse group of people, right? From all different types of walks of life. And art is universal. You know what I mean? So it's just like, and it's subjective as well. So I put it out that way. Like, I'm not tripping if I get, a lot of love on a certain piece, because the intention behind it was nice. And it's going to come around. It's going to affect somebody. All I needed to do was affect one person.
One person.
One person.
That's it.
That's
You know
it.
what I mean? So
That's true, man. Just
Right.
one person. That's it.
Yes,
That's all you
sir.
need.
So as you move forward, you've got season 1 out right now. Season 2 is out
yes, sir.
right now.
Wrapping up.
Season 3 is probably already recorded at this point, I'm guessing.
Season 3 is going to be dope.
Okay.
Season 3 is going to be dope because I get a little excited about it, if I may interject real quick.
It's all yours.
I got this kind of the Barack Obama voice going real quick.
Yeah.
I'm interviewing some very talented people, like some stars.
Awesome.
Like, so it's like, now, you don't want to get stagnant. You talk about DreamWorks and Pixar, it's like the same thing. And now it's like growth mindset and everything in between.
Okay.
So I really niched down these first 2 seasons, but now I'm going to open it up. I'm talking to other creators. I interviewed a young lady yesterday, super dope. And I'm just excited to put that out because I feel like I'm a really dope host. Like, I'm cool talking, doing these clips by myself. But I've always been a guide and a leader. I'm the oldest, in my family. And it's cool to just get folks on that are talented and get them to talk about sharing their gift. The lady I talked to yesterday, she's like a big entrepreneur coach, but she was a dope pop artist back in the day. And she don't talk about that no more, right? So it was like, I got to talk to her about that, and I got her to open up about it. And it was like, see, this is why I like to have, people on, because I want to figure out like how we can get you to really express your gifts, right? Because it's like, for me, I got caught up in the whole entrepreneur thing when I first started. I got to be an entrepreneur. I got to run my own business. You know what I mean? But it's deeper than that. And that's why I'm really thankful to be able to really introduce art by talking to other artists and creatives. So season 3 will be out very shortly. Like, the first episodes are going to come out this month. I already got a bunch of interviews locked down. So I probably threw your whole thing off, but I just got real excited when you said that.
That's exactly where I was going, because I wanted to know where you were going for season 3. Now that I know that, how dope is it to just get to talk to people, man, and get their story? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I'm looking forward to it, because you can talk, right? Like you've got the bars. At some point, you had some bars. You know what I'm saying?
For sure.
Definitely have the poetry background and all that, and then obviously through the YouTube, the podcast and all that. But how dope is it just to sit down with people and get their side of the story?
Yeah.
And how is that going to change kind of the art of being free going forward?
It's just going to give me the opportunity to uplift others versus talking about it. Now I can show it. You know what I mean?
Gotcha.
And it's just like, let me show people that there are other talented creatives out here, right? And there are a lot of stars that are just waiting to pop. And I always felt like I attracted like really great energy and really great people to me. That's why I'm here right now.
Right.
And people are going to be exposed to just a lot of gifted people. Like, it goes beyond talent. It's gifted folks, and they're putting their energy out there consistently, right? And with quality. So It's going to be cool. I'm excited to see. I'm energized to see where it goes because it's a focused energy versus an excitement where you kind of running all over the place, right?
Right.
It's very focused energy, and I'm energized to share this season 3 with everybody.
That's dope. So so you don't know when it's dropping yet? You're gonna try to wrap up.
I expect it in this month. I expect it to be in October.
October.
Yeah, I expect it.
What's the reasoning behind seasons? And not just like on a
great question.
just like on a continual basis.
Yeah, that's a really good question. So the gentleman that I trained with when I started, he was a mentor. His name was Sean Cannell, and he talked about starting your own show. And you want to do so. Here's the bottom line. When I first started, I wanted to make sure I finished right. So when I did season 1, it was like we're gonna do at least 35 episodes weekly. And then the Instagram was a byproduct of that because my YouTube was my main focus. Then I started kind of bubbling on Instagram. I had a video like blow up. I was like, all right, I'll stay on Instagram. And then I started making money on Instagram. I was like, all right, I'm definitely going to stay here. But my whole focus for season 1 was to get 35 episodes. But the gentleman was like, start your own show. At least 35 episodes. You want something you can call your own. And then after I did the 35, I was like, okay, I'm going to plot to do, season 2. I'll just do the same thing, maybe take it a little deeper. And it just, as you continue to go, you meet people. I'm a part of a community. I believe if you start any type of venture, you should have some sort of community that's supportive that you can be a part of.
100%.
You know what I mean? So that was a big part of it too. And they're all doing podcasts, they're doing shows. And they're consistent and they're showing up every day. So I see them. Some of them look super tired too. I'm like, dang, I know you're tired. But they still showing up. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Right.
So it's like, in fact, my biggest video, I didn't even want to put it out that day. It was a Saturday. I was tired. I wanted to sit back. Conan was on. And I'm going to watch Conan and just relax. And I was like, I've been putting videos out every day for like 50 days straight at that point. And then I put the video out and it just blew up, So it's like, it's usually when you do the thing that you don't want to do, that's when it like kind of breaks through.
Yes.
So I'm kind of ranting. I kind of lost my train of thought on the whole question.
About seasons.
Oh, seasons. So wrapping it up, putting a bow on it, eventually, I want to be able to package like the show, like to sponsors, right? Or just any opportunity. So in future episodes, I won't have a Kango hat on unless they're endorsing me. You know what I mean? I won't have I'll have my own art on. But right now I'm in this awareness building phase and I'm willing to go like 20, 30 years. So it's not like, okay, if by end of season 3, if I'm out like this, then I'm gonna quit. Not to say I haven't thought of like just letting it go because it's tiring. I make money offline, like real good. And, I got my family and everything. And it's a full-time job putting out content the way I do.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
So, but when I look at it like, okay, this is like a 30-year thing, right?
That's a great mindset.
Yeah, like, okay, 30 years, I'm just going to keep going. And who knows? I'm really energized to see where I'll be, year 5.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Year 10. Now we really cooking,
You're
so,
right.
So that's what I put myself in that mindset. And then, I want to be able to package these different seasons so people could see the growth. And I've had a lot of opportunities on TV and just hosting and being an MC and that's not really out there like that, just kind of behind the scenes. So, just handling like my business like that and actually having like, hey, here's a catalog of seasons of spoken word.
Got you.
You know what I mean? Like that's my intention behind it. So
what's that process look like? Because I know for us, like it's a weekly thing, right? So it's like, record, edit, put it out, right? And we might have like a couple that I always say like in the tuck, like is there, like we'll shoot a little extra just so we have something for the rainy day. I mean, I've got a family as well. And we're both busy and things happen. Family comes into town. Especially now this time of the year, holidays. But what's that process like for you? Like, are you recording well in advance and then dropping the season? Are you kind of like 4 or 5 episodes, drop 4 or 5 episodes? Like, what is that process?
So I focus on the long form content weekly. Like I'm making sure I record that at least once a week, typically Fridays. I always wait till the last minute. I shouldn't because I edit my own videos. I'll be up late. I'm trying to kick it with my wife.
Yeah.
But I'm like editing videos, and then I look up and she's asleep. And I was like, man, I was gonna kick it with you tonight. But I gotta edit my video, so it's just like, and she
it's because I would 100% understand where you're coming from, bro.
yeah, you know, and but I do my best to, you know, batch record when I can. I don't like to record when I have to record because it doesn't come across as dope as I'd like. So a lot of the content you see on Instagram, I mentioned, it's kind of like a year. A lot of it's a year old, 3 months old. Like I repurpose it. I might, you know, add a couple different edits and different music to it. But the entire process is to, like, I create a content strategy. This is what I'm going to talk about this week. I usually do it on like a Saturday. And then I just put it out, right? I record on a Sunday and I put it out Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, usually late at night because I'm doing all this other stuff. And I try to do my best to get it out before midnight, you know, and then I gotta go to work the next morning. So it's tough, but I know it'll pay off. A lot of it is, oftentimes there are other things I prefer to do. So like that's my biggest enemy when it comes to putting out the content. I still put it out, but the next level for me is like, okay, really hone in on that content strategy, really hone in on the batch recording and scheduling the post, and that'll be a relief for me. And then eventually I'll take on some assistance and stuff like that. But I just approach it with, you know, I've already got all this content from these long form videos. I chop it up with AI now. It's a lot easier to just have it chopped up.
Oh man,
all these clips. But I like to curate my own clips, but I'll use AI as a reference. It's like, okay, they like that clip. Let me go and just edit that clip myself versus I'm going to use this whole AI thing. And so I make AI work for me as a resource versus I'm going to use AI. AI is like the new Photoshop. Like back when everybody was like, oh, that's a Photoshop pic. Now it's going to be like that with AI. So
right.
That's kind of sidebar. But that's basically how I approach putting my content out.
Okay.
All right,
Starts with the long
I'm going
form.
to take that sidebar
Yeah.
and put it back on the table.
For sure.
Because you put in when you sent us what what you do and everything, and I found it very interesting about AI.
Yes, sir.
Right,
Yeah.
and I want to know your take on it. Do you have a positive take or a negative take on AI and across the board? Across the board. I know we talked about because they do the editing and there's the Chat GPT and AI is everywhere now.
Yeah,
it's doing damn near everything at this point. Even the Photoshop stuff. It's crazy to watch videos of like, oh, you just tell to put trees in there, and it's like put trees in there.
It's really
it's crazy. So I'm curious about what you think about AI today.
Yeah, AI is the wave. I mean, it's been that way. I'm in technology as a profession, so I've been studying generative AI and machine learning for about 3 years.
Okay.
And then when the NFTs started to pop, I was like, how are they making all of these, pictures, these drawings? And they were just using some code in Python and using AI to make like 10,000 versions of a bear or whatever.
Right.
So then I really got into AI and just went down the whole rabbit hole. And it's most definitely here to stay. I have very positive vibes about it. I know there are some people who are thinking negatively about it. I look at it like, as an artist especially, there are a lot of artists who don't like AI. And there's some really good like Bing images or Bing chat. You can make some real dope art on there. I use it when I need to make like YouTube banners or whatever.
Right.
I'm in a pinch. I look at AI from an artist perspective. It's just another resource. It's another arrow you can put in your quiver.
Another tool.
You know what I mean? That's it. Like, I don't look at it like people are like, oh, AI is going to replace everybody, and you're not going to have a job and nothing like that. And that's just a wrong mentality to have, because if that's how you feel, it's likely that's what's going to happen. You know what I mean? So
right.
I'm looking to dig deep into it. I got multiple certifications around large language models and generative AI coding, and I'm definitely going to be putting it out. People are going to see it. The thing is, you want to put it out. I use a lot of AI to create my content, but people don't know. Right. And I think people just have a misconception of what AI is. They don't look at it like artificial intelligence is everywhere. It's been around. The definition of it at its core is it's just computing, right? Like computer is artificial intelligence. So
Right.
Yeah, but generative AI is what people need to really learn about.
Right.
Okay.
Are you looking, I feel like you said it, but I'm not, I just want to make it clear.
Yeah.
Are you looking to like do something yourself in that field, like maybe drop an app or?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay, because I feel like you kind of like said it, but I was like, oh, did he really do it? Like, was that it? So
yeah, absolutely.
You have something in the works right now, like.
Yeah, well, again, I use it in everything that I do, from the captions in my videos. I got a couple of bilingual videos out there.
But you're using outside.
I go into, so there's an interface for developers called, it's a Adobe generative AI, like Vertex. So you go in Vertex, you can make little chat bots. That's the extent of my knowledge right now, is to make a chat box, which is chat bot, which is kind of difficult to do. But as the technology improves, like, I want to see where I could take it. Like, can I train a model on my art? Like, I just feed in my art. That's all it is with generative AI. So I'm feeding this model all my art, all my drawings, and then I could just type in some stuff and it can spit out a drawing that's my style. So those are like different ways that I'm going with it. As far as the apps, we'll see how that goes, as I learn. But right now, I just, again, want to use it as a resource to help make my job easier, give me some time back so I can go spend it with my family.
Because you know what I think would kill? And I think a lot of people, a lot of apps have tried to do it, but then, like, you either got to pay a stupid amount of money to be able to do it, like, the way you want to do it. Or they don't actually quite come out as well as, like, what's advertised. It's like a lot of the cartoon apps, right? Like, and I know there was some of the AI stuff that was really dope, but like, it would be dope to have like the free app, right? And now I'm like a TMNT version, of myself, right? And they kind of have that stuff out, but then when you go to do it, it's like, the side of your face is way over here somewhere. they done caught the shadow from back here. Like, you got to be perfectly green screen to do it. So that's why I was wondering, because that would be dope, man. You're like, the art is dope, and that's why I was like, man, I would love to just like have a free that, man. Like, because I love the cartoon stuff.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying? I love like the caricature stuff as well. You know what I'm saying? I think a lot of people love to do that with like the memojis and stuff like that. So that would be dope. Like, if you, man, I'm signing up, man. $19.99 a month, I'm in there.
That's what's up. It's definitely a possibility. Certainly something I consider like a 90s style Nickelodeon type version of yourself. Yeah, that would be really dope, actually. So I got to get on that. Like a Nickelodeon style version of you would be dope. So AI is making that possible. So I'm on the side of AI. Long answer to your short question.
And you know what, man? I like AI as well. I really do. I think it's a really cool tool to have, and especially for creatives, us three that are sitting in this room right now, right? Like, it helps us to edit or even ask something, like a question to something, and get an answer really faster. And I use it in different areas of, outside of doing this, like my actual job that I still have, and I'll ask it, like, what would you do in this situation, or what, how would you tell somebody to do, and it just gives you it's just a tool, right? It's not doing, it's just spitting something out, and it gives you a laundry list. It's not like one thing. It's like boom, 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 bullet points, right? And then just on the creativity side, it's just amazing. So I'm with you. Like, I think there's a lot of positive things, but I will say, man, there's some bad people out there, and that's the thing that it just, you're like, man, somebody's gonna do.
As bad as the people that use it, that's gonna turn into a bad thing.
It's always that, right? It's some dude going, "Oh, I can do this."
Such is the world, right? It's always gonna be, for every good, there's always gonna be like something.
And look, negative, man, you can't stop that, right? You just can't. Like, there's no way around that. So that's why I'm kind of like. That's why I said that, because like, as much positive things, people will focus on that 1% of negative thing that somebody did and turned it super negative. And you're like, yeah, but it's done 99%. really great positive things.
Yeah.
You know, to help out people and stuff like that, and give you a leg up on something.
Absolutely.
You know, and so it's just crazy. I'm gonna flip the conversation one more time here.
Sure.
Do you have anything recorded hip hop wise that anybody could go listen to?
This how I did the lady that I was interviewing the other day, because I was like, I'm not gonna talk about your music. But then I asked her.
Yeah, I thought it went towards the end, you know?
Yeah. It's just so like, yeah, I do. I've got some stuff on SoundCloud. I've got a whole EP on Apple Music called The Glow. And I did that back in like 2008.
Okay.
So hip hop is history for me. But I still love hip hop. I still write. I was writing the other day. And the way that you will hear my hip hop again will be through my cartoons. So I mentioned Call Center TV. I released Call Center TV, the cartoon, back in 2015. So we're going to do a re-release. Because now as I think about when I rap, my rap back then was, the base of it was like a lot of bravado, right? Like I'm dope, I'm this, I'm that. And that's not me anymore, right? I'm a father, like I'm a sports dad, you know what I'm saying?
Right,
it's like,
right.
I'm not rapping about that. But I could take the characters from the cartoon. And like bring that element.
Gotcha.
Because I love music. I grew up in music, and it's timeless to me.
That's a
So,
great idea, by the way. That's a fantastic idea, because it's a way to, again, because you love music and you love hip hop music.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like, maybe you still want to create hip hop music,
Yeah.
but don't necessarily want to put it out as like an album
Right.
or an EP or something,
right.
and put it into a show
Yeah.
that you created. That's fire. That's such a great idea.
And by
Such
the
a
way,
great
I mean, I don't know how many characters you're going to have in Call Center TV.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying, if you ever need like a voice actor or
Yeah.
something, you know what I'm saying? There's this guy.
Yeah.
He's half of the gray space. Oh, you know what I mean?
Let's go.
You know what I'm saying?
You got the voice, man.
He does have the
You got
voice
the
for it.
voice, like,
Hey, you let me know,
He does
man.
got the
I'm
voice for
there.
it.
yeah, you can't get into the club right
That's
now.
it right
Yeah,
there.
there you go.
That's all I need.
So yeah,
That's all I need.
absolutely, yeah. As we flesh the characters out, and that's another thing with AI. It's just going to make it easier to put these things out. It took a long time to make. It was like a 3-minute cartoon, but it took me like 6 months. You know what I mean? So now that's back in 2015, limited resources, but it was very dope, and it got a lot of love. So I'm energized to put that out as well, and that's again just a way to feature original music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Without being like freed. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
It's like being just like you'll see it and you're gonna be like, wow, and I use the colors, I use the reds and all that. So it's like I think about how can I make people stop scrolling and just like key in for a little bit,
That's a great point.
And as you see the cartoons, they'll come up on the Art of Being Freed on the Instagram. It's going to be a showstopper. That's my intention.
Right.
You know what I mean? I want to deliver the content in different ways, because the message is the same. Have a growth mindset, but now we just need to provide a little bit of spice and variety into the way that it's presented. And
100%.
the cartoon is like a way to do that.
So you got Art of Being Freed, season 3 coming up, season 2 wrapping up. Call Center TV is being re-released, repurposed, if you will. What else do you got going on, if anything else? What else can people expect from you, Freed?
Yeah, so I'm going to be doing an art show at Sip Bar and Grill on October 29th. I don't know when this is coming out, but that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be doing several art shows. I have a partnership with the Creative Center of Scottsdale.
Okay.
I've done several art shows with them. I actually taught a class over the summer, digital art for beginners for kids.
Dope.
And we had a nice class of kids, very talented, gifted kids in there. And we drew a dragon. Very cool, with the Creative Center of Scottsdale. So that's a partnership I'll be doing. It should be a monthly, but I know for sure we're going to do October 29th. I'll be there with live art, right? Like original pieces, similar to what I brought here today. And the focus is going to be on sports and chibi, which is like a form of anime.
Okay.
So sports and chibi characters. So it's going to be really fun.
That's dope.
Yeah, family friendly. You know what I mean? I'm all about family, so that's like my main kind of goal right now, is just get out there with the art, while I can, you know what I mean? Like, let me share this gift while I'm here. So yeah, that's kind of my vibes right now, outside of the podcast and the cartoons.
Nice.
Excited, man.
I'm excited too, man.
That's what's
That's
up.
dope. Anything that we missed that we didn't cover that you'd like to tap into before we get out of here?
That's a dope question. I always ask that at the end of my sales calls. Like, anything I didn't cover? Go over? I may have missed. And they always have something too. This time though, I believe we covered, everything. It's been like a really dope, conversation, coming into it. And then we covered the AI, the cartoon, the podcast, the content creation, the hip hop a little bit, the family. You know what I mean? Again, family first for me.
Yeah.
Always. And that's pretty much it for me. So
And you a fellow Calzonian, man.
let's
Yes.
go.
You're
Yes.
a fellow Calzonian,
Absolutely,
man.
absolutely. I did start with that. Yes, sir. I
love it.
I want to say this real quick.
Yeah.
I was at the ASU game because Fresno State was playing them recently, and Fresno State won like 29-0. And I was the only, Fresno State fan there. I went by myself. I'm all by myself. Wife and kids didn't want to go, and I was talking so much trash. Nobody said nothing. And then I told everybody to go home because they scored again. I was like, "Go home," and they started going home. And then the lady turned around and looked at me, and then I got real cordial, real quick. Like, "I'm sorry, ma'am. I didn't mean to say it like that. It's my team, So, but yeah, that's like the one time It's my team, It's the one time though that I'm like, really into it because I'm from California. I'm from Fresno. I got to represent. So, yeah, I just had to mention that story because, go Bulldogs. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So,
I respect it.
Another reason why I wear a lot of red because Fresno State's colors are red and white. So
They are.
And blue.
Yep.
Yes, sir.
Well, let them know where they can find you on your social media and all that.
Yes, so you can find me at Freed Podcast on Instagram. That's the best place to find me. All my socials are linked there. I'm also at Call Center TV. That's all my art. That's where you'll see the cartoon. Those are going to be the top 2 places you can find me. You can also get merch at callcentertv.com. So I'm going to have a lot of art on there. If you can't make it to the show, that's a really good opportunity to get some cool art, get some cool gear. And we're going to have some toys on there too. So I'm excited about everything that we have coming out.
And we're going to have all that thing. You know how we do. We got to sprinkle down.
Sprinkle.
Everything you just said, they'll be able to click it, go right where they need to go. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Freed, man, thank you again. I am really looking forward to everything you got coming up.
Appreciate you.
Love the art. Love the podcast. Definitely am going to try to make it out to the joint on the 29th.
That'd be dope.
There's a lot of stuff going on, so I don't want to promise anything, but I definitely going to try to make it out there.
Absolutely.
Yeah, man, just keep it going, man. Keep doing your thing. And like I said, get your boy a call, man. When you know what I mean? Holla at your boy. You know what I'm saying?
It'd be a dope opportunity.
Yeah,
Yes,
man,
sir.
for sure, man. Appreciate you, bro.
Appreciate you, bro.
Hey, man.
Appreciate you.
Yes, sir.
And
Appreciate you.
I also want to say thank you for coming.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you coming, sitting down with us, telling your story.
Absolutely.
I have to commend you for your positivity. I really look forward to that in people, and it's energetic, and I feel it from you, and I love it, and I wish the best for you, man. I really do, and I want to say, come back any time.
Right.
I'd love
Open
to.
invitation
I would
for sure.
love to sit down and talk to
For
you
sure.
about more positive things.
Absolutely.
If what you got going on, whatever it is, you have an open invitation to the Gray Space, and we really want you to come back. And
Absolutely.
we'll spin the block at some point. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
100%.
Appreciate it. Thank y'all for having me.
Yeah.
It's been a very
We-
wonderful experience.
We'd love to have you back. So thank you again for coming on. You guys stay safe. You guys stay positive out there.
And as always, this is the Gray Space.
Peace.
Peace.